A little bit about PR, public relations, and that's kind of where you started. So let's kind of backtrack a little bit to kind of work through your journey of how social media ended up being inserted into your life and into your career and such. So where did you begin? What did you go to school for? And then how has that led you to this point?
No, at the end of my sophomore year, I had to declare a major, and I was standing in the registrar's office with my best friend, and I was like, I don't know what to do. And she said, just be a communications major. And I was like, all right, done. And then, my dad was like, you need to have an internship before my junior year in college. And I was like, okay. So I interned at the PBS station in the Twin Cities, because I'm from the Twin Cities, on a show called Almanac. It was a news magazine show every Friday. I didn't do anything other than I wrote one script and put makeup on people. And I would go through our voicemail. We had voicemail that viewers would call in and respond to whatever. And then the summer before my senior year, I got an internship at NBC 26 here in town, and just did a news reporting internship, which then I think I went and did a sports internship there as well. And then I worked part-time at Fox 11 doing the weekend assignment desk. And then my second semester, my senior in college, I got a full-time job at NBC 26 producing the 10 o'clock news. So I would go to school in the morning and work full-time in the afternoon. And then I moved to WBAY, and I produced the morning show there. And being a producer, for those of you that don't know, is I basically wrote every single word the anchor said, chose all the stories, the order of the stories, even the toss to sports, hey, looks like the Packers did really well last night, something like that. Produced the morning show here at WBAY for like a year and a half or something, and then I went to Milwaukee and worked for Fox down there for a year. And then I transferred back home to the Fox in the Twin Cities and was there for a really long time. And while I was there, social media started happening, and Fox bought MySpace. So we became My Fox, My 9. That was like the thing, because MySpace was the thing.
What year was this again? Do you remember what year that was?
07 or 06 maybe? Would that sound right? Would MySpace have been around then? Yeah.
It was kind of fading at that time, but yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe it was like right before it started fading, because we all were like, way to go, know. And then, so yeah, in MySpace you had music playing on you guys are too young.
Anybody remember MySpace?
You had music playing on your page, and you could like change your music. Yeah, and the background, you had like a wallpaper.
We're all amateur coders.
And everybody was
MySpace,
friends with
right?
Tom. Wasn't his name Tom?
Yep.
Tom.
In the white shirt, right?
Yep. Yes. And then Facebook kind of started, and I remember I had a Facebook page because the younger folks did, and our reporters were like, "Oh my gosh, I need to have a Facebook page too," and they all wanted to get their make sure their name wasn't taken. No, that's Twitter? No, wasn't there a thing with Facebook you don't want to get your name taken?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, it's been so long, I can't remember. And then we just as producers then in TV, so this would have been like 09, 08, 09. We had to start posting on social media. It was kind of a weird thing. We were posting on social media. This is weird. And then I started to do field produce. So I would go out and interview people. And while I was interviewing people, I started to do stories about teen driving and teen driving safety, because teens weren't wearing their seatbelts and they were dying. And I got to know the Minnesota State Patrol, and they called me and asked me if I wanted to work for them and manage their social media. They had never had a social media manager. Nobody had, because it was 09. And no, that would have been 2010. And so I went there and I started doing social media, and I managed Facebook and Twitter and YouTube for, I think, 5 different departments within the Minnesota Department of Public Safety, which the Minnesota State Patrol was the most popular. And we actually used it as our way to communicate with not only the citizens, but the media. We really used it to tell stories, because telling your story defines your brand. And we used it in our one-way communication. We no longer had to go through the media. There was a crash where a former Minnesota Vikings player she was driving and she hit and killed a man, and she left the scene, so it takes a while with an investigation to actually say she did it, and we released a statement on Facebook instead of emailing a statement to the media. Or when there was whenever we had a news conference, I would tweet it out saying the news conference is on the quarter of 6th in Minnesota, you know, call me, or it's at 10 a.m. or something like that. So we really used social media. And that at that time, I think there was Foursquare.
Yep.
Instagram was probably starting because that's when it was like old photos.
2012.
Wasn't there something about old photos? Remember when Instagram first started? Or that was 2000? Okay.
Yeah.
It was Foursquare.
There was some photo
else
sharing
was on
sites out at that time, though. So you may have.
Tumblr.
Tumblr was out. Flickr.
Oh,
Couple
Flickr.
of those,
We have a Flickr channel, by the way. It's just connected to our website. That's the only reason we use it. Yeah.
There wasn't a lot.
No. So that's really where I was in social media. Like, we would do videos and, like, we would train other agencies around the state on how to use government agencies and how to use it, because nobody knew how to use it. I mean, it was like brand new, and all of a sudden it's like, have a Facebook page, have a Twitter account. And then, now I'm here. I moved back here from my husband, his job.
Yeah.
So I'm at, and now I'm at NWTC. But that was, I think, when I got into, I mean, there was a little bit of it as the end of my TV career, and then it really jumped in full force when I was working for the Minnesota State Patrol. But that was, and they had, I remember one agency always, like, they had months worth of posts planned out, that was their deal. That was fine for them. But it was all, and back then, do you remember this? If you had a typo, you couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, you couldn't edit.
No, and I have typos all the time on our Facebook page. So I go back and correct them, but if you see them, it's me typing too fast.
When editing became a thing on social media, it was huge. There's a lot of people that both liked it and those that hated it, because they didn't want others going back in and changing, especially if it was a brand or a business or a company. They wanted to know what they said the first time around without them actually changing what their message was. So that was a really huge thing.
Gosh, I forgot about that.